If you've been growing tomatoes for any length of time and still not getting the yields the seed packet promises, the problem almost certainly isn't your soil nutrients, your watering schedule, or your variety selection. It's the biology happening, or not happening, in the root zone, and no fertilizer label tells you how to fix that. Welcome back to Gardening Guru. Before we get into this, I want to let you know that if you want to go deeper than what I share here on the free channel, I run a membership club right here on YouTube where I post premium gardening content, detailed guides, advanced techniques, and the kind of practical knowledge that takes your growing to a completely different level. The link is in the description. Subscribing to the channel and joining the membership is the best way to stay connected to everything we cover here. Now let's talk about tomatoes. The buttermilk, yeast and honey preparation we're covering today is not a fertilizer. That distinction matters enormously for understanding why it works and why standard fertilizer programs don't produce the same results. Fertilizers supply nutrients. This preparation supplies the biological community that makes nutrients accessible. A tomato plant growing in biologically active soil with healthy root zone microbiology converts its available nutrients into fruit with an efficiency that the same variety in biologically depleted soil cannot approach, regardless of how much you fertilize. The root zone biology is the delivery system, and the preparation we're making today feeds and activates that delivery system directly. The preparation components are specific, and the rationale behind each is documented in agricultural microbiology research that traditional farming communities arrived at empirically long before the laboratory characterized the mechanisms. 400 milliliters of clean water at room temperature provides the base medium. 100 milliliters of buttermilk provides the lactic acid bacteria that drive the biological activation effect. 1 tablespoon of active dry yeast provides the enzymatic activity and B vitamin content that directly stimulates root development, and half a tablespoon of raw honey provides the activation substrate that brings the yeast into active metabolism, while contributing its own antimicrobial compounds that selectively suppress soil pathogens without affecting the beneficial organisms the preparation is establishing. The 2-hour fermentation period is honestly the step that most people either skip or try to shorten. And, well, it's actually the step that determines whether the preparation has enough time to activate into a biologically potent root drench, or if it just remains a simple mixture of ingredients. At room temperature, between 20 and 25 degrees Celsius, active dry yeast gets going within about 15 minutes of contact with the honey-water medium, starting to produce carbon dioxide and the enzymatic activity that processes the surrounding medium. The lactic acid bacteria in the buttermilk, though, need a bit longer to really get established in the new medium, and they begin significant metabolic activity somewhere between 30 and 60 minutes. The 2-hour fermentation window, you see, allows both populations to reach an active metabolic state and to produce the initial wave of fermentation metabolites, including organic acids, B vitamins released from yeast cell activity, and those early fermentation byproducts that carry the bioactive signal that root zone soil biology actually responds to. The observable indicator that the fermentation is proceeding correctly is, well, mild bubbling in the preparation during the first hour, which is produced by carbon dioxide from yeast metabolism. The mixture should develop a slightly yeasty, mildly tangy smell that's pleasant rather than sharp or sour. If the mixture smells strongly of alcohol after 2 hours, it means the fermentation temperature was just too high and the yeast has gone further than the preparation intends. If there is no observable change after 90 minutes, the yeast probably wasn't active. The honey might have been pasteurized and killed the natural microorganisms present in raw honey that help with activation, or perhaps the water temperature was simply too cold to support metabolic activation. After the 2-hour fermentation, the active preparation is diluted with 1 liter of room temperature water to bring it to the application concentration. This dilution serves 2 purposes. First, it reduces the concentrations of fermentation products, including carbon dioxide and early organic acids, to levels that the root zone biology can process efficiently, rather than being briefly overwhelmed by. And second, it increases the volume of the preparation to allow thorough root zone coverage, rather than a concentrated point application. The application protocol is root-directed rather than foliar, and this distinction determines whether the preparation reaches the biological target it's designed to activate. Apply 100 to 150 milliliters of the diluted preparation to the soil at the drip line of the tomato plant. That's the circle of ground directly below the outer edge of the plant's canopy, where feeder root density is highest. Do not pour against the main stem, which keeps the preparation away from the main root mass and can create moisture conditions at the stem base that promote the fungal infections that tomato stems are vulnerable to. The drip line application positions the preparation where fine root tips are actively growing and where the root zone microbiology is most concentrated and most responsive to biological activation inputs. Apply twice monthly through the growing season, from about 2 to 3 weeks after transplanting through the fruit development period. The twice monthly frequency maintains the biological activation effect without creating the anaerobic conditions that more frequent application of fermentable materials can produce in the root zone. The interval between applications allows the soil biology to respond to each activation event, establish at higher population density, and then respond to the next application from a higher baseline than the previous cycle, which is the mechanism through which each application produces incrementally better root zone biology than the previous one. The measurable effects of this protocol appear in 3 categories over the growing season. Root system development, visible when plants are removed at end of season, is significantly more extensive in preparation-treated plants than in fertilizer-only controls with higher fine root tip density throughout the upper soil profile. Fruit set rate. The proportion of flowers that develop into fruit rather than dropping is typically higher in preparation-treated plants because the calcium and phosphorus availability improvements from enhanced root zone biology reduce the deficiency-related flower drop that many gardeners attribute to weather rather than soil biology, and total fruit weight per plant over the season, which is the yield metric that most directly reflects the cumulative effect of improved root zone biology through the full production period, is the measurement that produces the doubling claim when soil biology is the primary limiting factor on the planting. The biological rationale for each ingredient is documented well enough to explain why substitutions that seem equivalent often produce inferior results. Buttermilk specifically, rather than plain milk, yogurt or other dairy products, provides the highest concentration of Lactobacillus acidophilus and related lactic acid bacteria species in a form that survives the 2-hour fermentation period and remains viable through soil application. The lactic fermentation that produces buttermilk concentrates these organisms relative to their starting density in fresh milk, which is why buttermilk produces more consistent results than equal volumes of other dairy products, despite appearing to be a simple substitution. Active dry yeast specifically, rather than instant yeast or bread machine yeast, provides the dormant spore form of Saccharomyces cerevisiae that activates reliably across the range of preparation temperatures and honey concentrations that home preparation produces. Instant yeast activates faster but is less stable in variable conditions. The thiamine, B2, B6, and B12 content that yeast releases during activation is the specific vitamin contribution that research on root zone stimulants identifies as the mechanism of root tip elongation, stimulation, and this vitamin release requires the activation period rather than being present in the dormant spore. Raw honey rather than commercial processed honey, provides the wild yeast and bacterial community on its pollen and crystal surfaces that contributes the initial fermentation population diversity the preparation benefits from. Commercial honey processed above 63 degrees Celsius is effectively sterile, providing only the sugar substrate without the microbial contribution. For growers without access to local raw honey, adding a small amount of raw apple cider vinegar with the mother to commercial honey achieves a similar microbial inoculation effect. The combination of these three specifically chosen ingredients produces a biological root zone activation that is genuinely more effective than any of them used individually or substituted with apparent equivalents, which is the traditional knowledge validation behind preparations that have persisted in regional farming traditions long enough to survive into the modern period. They persisted because the specific combination worked better than variations, and the laboratory characterization of why confirms rather than contradicts that accumulated practical knowledge. Subscribe to Gardening Guru and join the membership for the premium tomato growing content that covers variety selection, soil preparation, and the full biological management system that this preparation is part of. See you in the next one.